Hold on, let me just check the sound real quick, and then I'm gonna get started. Hold on, let's see. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Let me see. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. It took me a little bit longer to test out the sound. All right, we're good to go. All right, what's up, y'all? I know a lot of you will catch the playback. This is going to be the daily guidance for the weekend. So for September 13th today and tomorrow, September 14th. And then next week it'll still be coming out at the same time. I wanted to come talk today because you guys know, I'm sure you've been hearing about it. I know I've been running the whole, we got the Mercury Cazimi happening. Well, it kind of happened 7 a.m. Eastern time. We're kind of still in the window of it. When I just looked at the chart, they were still at the same degree, the sun and Mercury, but at a certain point, they're going to distance themselves and Mercury can become combust, you know. So it's like a small window of time where we get that Mercury Cazimi energy. But I did want to come talk about it because I do feel like it is connected to the eclipses that we're in, this eclipse portal and season that we're in. And we just had Mercury conjunct the South Node. It's still very close to it, so still very much affected by those energies. So, you know, it's all very connected. And I broke this down into like four like areas of focus to kind of make it make sense, right? So we're going to frame it as the light, okay, being the Cazimi, so the breakthroughs, the things that you are noticing. The wall, okay, which is Saturn's role, okay, where we feel blocked, where we feel the restriction. The wound, which is Chiron being activated, okay, and then lastly the medicine, which is I think where we need to look for the Cazimi breakthroughs, and that's Jupiter right now. All right, so those four parts, so I want to talk about that. I'm going to go through each sign and kind of pull some cards to go with it. Yeah, and that's why I'm here today. All right, so we're just going to get straight into it. Everything will be timestamped, of course, afterwards. All right, and I hope you guys are having a great day. I don't know if I said that when I first got on here. All right, we will be starting with Virgo. Happy solar return, guys. I hope it's been a great season. All right. So I can't, but I'll listen. Hey, Rachel. No problem. Thank you for stopping by. Safe travels. Safe travels. All right. So, Virgo. The Cazimi for you guys is happening in your first house. It's you, right? It's you. And so there is this breakthrough, like your identity. Hey, Luna. Hey, girl. I hope you're having a great day. I'm so happy to see you guys in here. I literally just started, Luna. Yep. I'm about to start with Virgo and then go from there, go down the line from there. I'm going to timestamp it after. Okay, Virgo, I'll change your timestamp. It'll be accurate. All right, Virgo, it's in your first house. There is this light that's being shone on your identity, feeling like it's built on being a constant project, right? I feel like at the heart of it is this endless self-editing that you do, or endless self-improvement. You feel like you need to go to this perpetual refining of yourself in order to merge with other people. And this Cazimi is kind of like breaking that mask, you know. It's kind of showing you or forcing you to see that you are not some type of problem that needs fixing, okay? So that's the light part for you guys. Now I want to go to the wall, right? What Saturn can be making you feel in that 7th house again, right? Because it's backing your house of one-on-one relationships. And this can really like reflect the fear that you guys have of intimacy. strictly put, look at that. The Ace of Cups and the Seven of Swords. This fear of like truly opening up, and it's not even that. I think is letting people see you. Messy, raw. We've been kind of hitting on that. And a lot of these themes in eclipse season might sound redundant because they are all connected. All of these energies, all these outer planets that have been talking this year, the themes are very much connected. But a lot of you with that Saturn there feel like if you're not perfect or something, like you're not lovable, and Chiron, okay, because you guys have Chiron in the 8th house. Chiron affects that 7th house, that Saturn, because Chiron is in your 8th house, right? Aries, your 8th house of where we deeply merge with another person, where we deeply, like we take things from the 7th house and it goes to the next level in the 8th house. Those connections deepen. There's deeper intimacy. There is, is under the surface. But you have Chiron there. There's wounding when it comes to that for you. So you see how you get in that 7th house and some of your relationships around you, in fact, feel very restricting to you. Okay, or feel very cold. Saturn in the 7th house. Okay, let me see Chiron for you guys. Yep, look at that. Chiron. The Lovers reversed. Temperance on the bottom of the deck. There is this deep fear of pure intimacy, and the 8th house is raw. The 8th house is unmasked. The 8th house is like, you can't keep it cute. Like it gets messy. It's crying with snot coming down your nose and really like allowing yourself to be seen, like, for who you really are. So the medicine for you guys, right? You guys have Jupiter right now in the 11th house. Your medicine is your community and soul tribe community, right? Jupiter in the 11th house. Exalted is like you have to find it within yourself to be able to show who you really are, to be able to show the messiness, the unedited version of yourself, because when you let yourself be seen that raw, your allies who resonate are naturally going to start showing up. So where some of you genuinely, and maybe rightfully so, feel like some people in that 7th house, look at what just came out. The High Priestess, as I'm talking about the 7th house, that's Pisces, the High Priestess, and that's also your 7th house is Pisces. For most Virgo risings, right? If we're using whole house. Those who actually show up for you, right? So you might, Virgo and Chiron is in my chart. I'll be watching Virgo readings. Good, Luna. That 7th house can feel, I'm sorry, when you attract what you're supposed to attract in that 11th house of community, because some of you, that's what I was saying, genuinely feel like the 7th house, your relationships are not safe spaces. Your relationships have been stifling or have made you feel unsafe or not able to show this side of yourself that I'm saying that you need to bring out. The thing is, we have to anyway. Right now, it might not be in those relationships. Saturn is in your 7th house. It's time to have boundaries in those spaces, in those one-on-one relationships, because some of them are going to be leaving once Saturn fully leaves Pisces in February to March. So you have to start opening up. And this High Priestess here, yes. Leaning in, you might not understand it, right? You might not understand why you're being pulled from certain people or pulled from certain spaces and pulled toward other places. But we just had a Pisces lunar eclipse. It's not all logical. I think we're all figuring that out. And the Tower, yes, the Moon and the Three of Swords on the bottom of the deck is like, yeah, some things are going to collapse in the sense that those relationships, those connections they're not sustainable anymore. And that's what I was just talking about. But they collapse and allow for you to build better by you activating this energy, by you showing up raw, stop editing yourself, Stop thinking you have to be better, you have to look better, you have to have this, you have to talk like this, you have to talk like that, because it puts you in relationship and connection with people who then stifle you. Even if unconsciously, subconsciously, they stifle you because you're editing yourself and stifling yourself in a way. So our relationships are our mirrors. The seventh house is a mirror to the first house, to the self. Who we are is showing up in some kind of way in our relationships that we're attracting. All right. So Virgo licious. That's what I have for you guys. And thank you, Luna. I love these cards. This is it's called the Wandering Star Tarot deck. The Wandering Star. Okay. Libra, you are up. Let me just put these cards randomly back in. Okay. Okay. Libra. This is happening in your 12th house, or you've been having a lot of action, right? You had a new moon there. You're about to have an eclipse there in Virgo. This is really highlighting like the light for you guys. The Cazimi is like some type of avoidance or something is really it's so clear to you now. Okay, so any type of way that you've bypassed pain with like just beauty, or again, another thing with Libra is trying to keep the balance, right? Try not to rock the boat. Any way that you've been numbing, those things is like they've been hiding in plain sight now. Like those are the things that's being highlighted, and the Cazimi is like going to burn through any type of like self-deception there, or I'm even hearing self-neglect, which I could see with the South Node in the 12th house. It can feel very draining if, let's go to the wall, Saturn for you guys, who's in the 6th house, if this 6th house is not in order. And if you don't show up in the 6th house, the 12th house is you're going to want to retreat into that 12th house where you feel comfortable, hide away. I'm telling you, I went through that South Node 12th house transit. Man, like I get it. But, so you have the Ten of Swords reversed here. Okay. Where I feel like there's this, urge, this need from you, this want, maybe this desire to have things be easier, because the South Node in the 12th house can feel like just sluggish. Like I'm seeing somebody like just dragging a heavy load, like from their body, pulling that weight. But Saturn in the 6th, right, and now retrograde back in your 6th house can feel like it's keeping you trapped in duty and these endless routines, responsibilities, these obligations that drain you, but you in turn cling to them because you feel like they are necessary. Okay? And the thing is, Saturn, yes, is there, the Hangman. Why is this happening? The Hangman is Pisces, and that's your 6th house. That's what we're talking about. And now the Hangman comes out. That's Pisces. That's really cool. Saturn wouldn't be in your 6th house if you weren't supposed to be creating structure there. The thing is, it seems like, we're just looking at the energy, you are making your routines, responsibilities, and obligations about everyone else instead of framing your 6th house to serve you first, and then let the extra spill over to other people in your life. And that's the problem, because you might be doing it through a smile, trying to have a smile. That's that South Node in the 10th house too. It doesn't want to, it's comfortable being behind the scenes, so to speak. But the North Node is pulling you to be more, show up for yourself in your daily life. Have boundaries with people and the things in your daily life. Thank you, Luna. I've been trying so many different hairstyles, having a lot of fun. You also have the Four of Wands out here, but it's asking you to show up there, right? But let's talk about Chiron, right? Because Chiron's in Aries for you guys. Where is that for you? Your 7th house, one-on-one relationships. Chiron is present on a relationship wound. Okay. And you feel, I think the core of it for you guys is that inherently you feel broken in partnership with people, and that can make you feel like, well, imbalance is just what I have to deal with in my daily life, in my relationships. It's just something that that I have to do, you know. And that goes back to Saturn, that wall in your sixth house. You cling to it because they feel necessary, but that necessity that you feel, that necessariness that you feel, is connected to a relationship wound, okay, where you feel broken in relationship to people. And these are the dynamics that, again, are the mirrors for your healing right now. So let's talk about Jupiter, okay? And then the Four of Wands, I want to talk about that because that could be your wounding coming from a place that is more foundational. You know, maybe from childhood, maybe from home, maybe from lineage, family patterns, things that were said to you, who you thought you had to be. I heard it was basically handed to me. So some of you relate to people in this way and relate in your life in this way because you saw somebody else do it. Because, you know, the 12th house is also can be considered past life. Okay, and the South Node is there. We're relying too much on that. You have to show up in the 6th house and create the world that you want there. So the medicine for you guys, you got Jupiter in the 10th house, and this is truth aligned work. Your work has to be truth aligned. It has to come from a place of integrity. So it's like your career, your public life, whatever is happening in 10th house, right? It has to reflect your actual soul, Libra, like who you actually are. And then the recognition, the accolades, it'll come. Jupiter's in your 10th house. It will come. It is exalted in your 10th house. It will come. But you have to know that it's going to come from integrity, you creating systems in your daily life that serve you first and then everyone else. Okay? And that's how that Jupiter will expand in that 10th house, because otherwise it's going to be unsustainable. If Jupiter expands your 10th house and you're fucking famous and you got all this stuff to do, but your systems are broken in your daily life and you neglect yourself just to maintain whatever is up there in the 10th house, it's not going to be sustainable. And we know Saturn doesn't give a fuck about instant gratification. It's about longevity. Is this going to burn you out is what Saturn is asking in the 6th house. Doesn't care about, you know, the success and stuff. Like, is this sustainable for you? All right. And you have the Magician here. So yeah, the 7 of Cups. So I think this is just like you got to ground those practices for yourself first, Libra. Self first. All right, that's what I have for you guys. Scorpio. Let's do Scorpio. Ow, this bracelet is pinching the heck out of me. Why am I looking at the time on my computer for the timestamps? It's Saturday. That's what I'm gonna blame it on. It's Saturday. I have family in town too, so it's just been like a busy day, busy energy this weekend. All right, Scorps. So, you guys know we've been talking about this, Scorpio. We've been talking about this, okay? You guys have, oh, let me turn that up right. We have the Cazimi happen in our 11th house, right? This is burning. Like, this is literally burning, because that's what happens in a Cazimi. The Mercury gets so close to the sun that at one point it's combust, and then when it gets right in the heart of the sun, which is what Cazimi means, is when the breakthroughs happen. So this is quite literally burning, okay? Combustion when it comes to false alliances, false friendships, networks, groups where you've had to curate yourself to fit into them. And now with this Cazimi, is like it's starting to feel real hollow. Okay, it's starting to feel very hollow. And oh, let me write that. That's a note for Taurus too. Hold on, so I don't forget. Sorry. And so you guys are seeing clearly who is authentic and who is not. Give me 1 second. Let me make sure I'm still... Okay, cool. I'm still alive. You guys are seeing who is authentic in your spaces that you're sharing yourself with, and who is not. Like, who is not for you. Okay? Now, that's the light. Okay? That's the Cazimi. That's the heart of the Cazimi for you guys. Now, you have Saturn in your 5th house, okay? And this is saying, quite frankly, and honestly, with Saturn retrograding back in Pisces in the 5th house, I've seen this more clearly as well. This is saying you guys have been afraid to really shine, to really take that spotlight, to really take that creative risk, to really revel in joy, to really delve into romance, even open yourself up to romance to see what happens, because they felt dangerous. They feel dangerous. Some of you, those feelings have come back where they feel very dangerous, like you are just, I'm hearing expose, like you are just on full display, just raw, just out here. Okay, the 4 of Cups here, yeah, you are actually feeling this from certain communities and things that you are a part of, even certain visions that you have for your life that are shifting, because the 11th house is that as well. Some of you are realizing, I don't want this anymore, especially not connected to these people, and we don't vibe, and you know. Now you have Chiron. Look at the, yo, this is crazy. All right, I'm tripping out now. I'm tripping out now because this is the 3rd reading in a row. Y'all who have been here, vouch for it, okay? That I said Saturn, and we know Saturn's retrograding in Pisces. And the minute that I go to pull for it, a Piscean card comes out. The High Priestess is Pisces, and we just was taught, what, just saying Saturn in the 5th house. And for you guys, that's Pisces. Crazy alignment. Okay. Wow. Yeah, so confirmation on everything that I just said about Saturn in that 5th house for you guys, and you being actually afraid to shine because it's felt dangerous for you. And I want to talk about that because you have Chiron. I want to talk about Chiron for you guys, as that might explain why it feels dangerous. You have Chiron. It literally is hitting a visibility wound, right? It's in the 6th house for you all in Aries. Like, right? It's in Aries for everybody, but it's in your 6th house. So how you might show up boldly every day, right? The 6th house is what we do every day. Our routines, that's going to be work, right? If you work frequently every day, whatever you put your energy into every day, the people you communicate with every day, your habits and routines. And with Chiron being there, it's like there has been for a while. Remember, the North Node was in the 6th house for you guys like a year or so ago. And Chiron was there at the same time. It really hit on that visibility wound and this deep fear that if you shine, it will make you unsafe. So do you see how that is connecting to Saturn now retrograding in Pisces, in that house of creative flow and being seen, because it's the house of Leo naturally. All right. But I'm going to tell you, Scorpio, like, because it's the house of Leo naturally for you guys, because the North Node is there for you guys right now, your light there, you being seen, putting yourself out there raw, is exactly what other people need right now, even if they don't know it yet. That's been a theme because the South Node is in your 11th house. Some of you, the right communities haven't found you yet, and that has to do with you not fully stepping into that light. For others of you, there are people who, like I said, don't worry about it. It will come. It will come. Okay? Yeah, you have the 2 of Wands here. That's crazy. 2 of Wands while I'm pulling for Chiron, and the 2 of Wands is the first decan of Aries, and that's where Chiron is right now. Okay? You have the 2 of Wands and the 7 of Wands here. Yeah, this wound about not being visible, but it's really asking you to really step. You got to step. Like, and it's not, here's the thing, Scorpio, it's not about you stepping out and living your life to prove. That's not how you get in the light. You don't even have to do that because you're so magnetic. Show up just in your authenticity. Show up doing the things that truly bring you joy, and it's just going to emanate off your aura. You know, you ever like been in contact with someone or experienced somebody who is just like really into what they're doing, and you just feel them. There's no, they don't need to convince you. They don't need to be anything other than what they're doing, you know? So yeah, you guys cannot hide, because the Two of Wands, Seven of Wands is like, yeah, there is something you might be feeling about your plan, feeling about your life that other people are not validating for you right now. That is literally the point of this energy. You have got to fall in love with it. You've got to do it for yourself. Okay, now let's talk about Jupiter. For you guys, it's in the 9th house. Sorry, I had a notification. Jupiter's in the 9th house for you guys. This is going to help you, right? And as I'm talking about Jupiter, can you make this up? You can't make stuff like this up, right? Temperance in reverse. Who is Jupiter associated with? Sagittarius, who is the Temperance card, and also Pisces. That's crazy. All right. But yeah, you have Temperance and then the World on the bottom of the deck. So Jupiter in the 9th house is pointing you to expanding yourself through learning. Okay. If you find joy in that, traveling, your philosophy on life, excuse me, connecting with people from different cultures and different spaces. This is going to help that chironic wound of the visibility. I'm telling you, you guys just haven't, your people just haven't found you yet. And they'll find you when you put your authentic light out there. When you delve into your joy, like, full stop. Yeah, you have to step beyond the group's cage. Okay? A lot of people are not going to get the vision from you right now. But you have one. And it's valid. You're right. You're right. I want to validate you right now because I know exactly where you're going. You're right. But are you truly in love with the thing that you're doing? And are you holding back any part of yourself, any version of yourself? I don't care how raw it is, how messy, how taboo. I don't care. Don't hold it back. Let it all hang out and it's going to all work out. All right. So yeah, a lot of you Scorpio, your truth is much bigger than the group's approval right now. They will catch up. I promise you. Okay. That's what I have for you guys. Let's go to Sag. I feel like Scorpio, y'all really got me in my little flow right there. Sag, okay. Let me get some water real quick before I put your timestamp down. And make sure I'm still alive. Okay, cool. We're good. All right, Sag, let's get your timestamp. It is... put it at... Okay, Sag. So, it's in your 10th house, right? It's the most public house in anybody's chart. So it's like some truth about like your career roles, and could feel like you are wearing a costume, like you're cosplaying or something. I'm not saying you are. It could feel like that, right? Like a lot of you have been playing like respectability politics, you know, but your soul is feeling like, again, this hollowness. Okay. And opposite that, you got Saturn in the 4th house. Okay, this is the wall. This is what you feel might be the block. And again, that could be the family expectations, the ancestral weight that you carry from bloodlines that precede you. And possibly, you know, this fear of kind of like betraying where you came from too. But a lot of you are having to lean into your roots, you know, lean into how you feel deeply, because that's what you're ignoring at the cost. You know, you are trying to achieve something up here publicly or in your status or how you're seen, but at the cost of like who you really are, or your boundaries, or your home life. The Tower. Yeah, the 4 of Swords. I heard somebody say, man, I really need some sleep. You know, that's that. That's that. Right? If your 4th house is Pisces too, literally sleep at home. You know, literally sleep at home. But with the South Node in the 10th house, again, can be making you feel like you're missing something out there. Fear of missing out. Fear of missing out. So I'm just going to neglect what I, you know, forget how I feel. Yes, I need the rest. Yes, I know this is too much, but I'm still going to go after it. Okay, so that's what you're realizing here in the light of the Cazimi, the tower up there. It's not sustainable long term. Okay. Now, where's Chiron for you guys? Give me a sec. Oh, okay. The Chiron's going to be in your 5th house, right? Because you have Saturn and Pisces in the 4th. And so this is going to press on for you guys, like this authority wound, you know, because the 5th house is the house of self. Like I said, it's the natural house of Leo. And so there could be this fear that you won't measure up to something, that you'll never measure up, or that you are inadequate in some kind of way. And that connects to the 4th house, right? Because it's like Chiron's trying to show you that authority is not necessarily inherited. You know, it's something that is kind of earned through risk, through your authenticity. Okay. And how do we do that? 4th house, our roots, honoring how we feel. Okay. Let's talk about Jupiter, right? The medicine for you guys is Jupiter in your 8th house. Got the Ace of Wands here too. Yeah. Okay. That Ace of Wands for that Chironic wound there in the 5th house. Okay, I'm here and take the wheel. So there are certain things, yeah, that you guys, I think, want to start, you want to get creative with. But again, if the South Node is in the 10th house, there's been too much of like chasing just for status or just for the hell of it instead of really honing in on who you are. Some of you getting rid of like these old stories that about like how your past or your lineage held you down, or you know. So yeah, you have Jupiter in the 8th house, and you can see how, because the 8th house is very deep, it's very expansive, it's the house of Scorpio naturally, so it's the house of transformation. That's where you have to lean into. Okay. You have to lean into intimacy. You have to lean into like shared power, right? Because South Node in the 10th house could be like trying to have power, control over everything, and or you know, trying to win at all costs. It's just saying like you have to let other people in. Okay, like vulnerability with the right people for you guys, and with yourself. Deep intimacy with yourself is really going to free you from these false narratives that have been running. I'm hearing so that you can reset your pace. Okay, 6 of Pentacles there that we end off with, and the Devil on the bottom of the deck with the 7 of Swords. Okay, so this is like a lot of deep vulnerability that you're being asked to lean into. So things might feel like they're slowing down because you're being pulled inside yourself, Sag, to like really anchor. You know, who are you authentically and at your core before you try to come out into the world and chase anything or have a title or status out here. All right, so that's what I have for you guys. I'm gonna go to Capricorn. Cappy, you have the 9th house. Borrowed philosophies, right? The Cazimi is kind of hitting on like these like religion, academia, any gurus, mentors even, that you've kind of been like regurgitating other people's truths or philosophies on life instead of maybe living your own, instead of trusting and leaning on your wisdom as well, your intuition. Okay, and I think the Cazimi is really highlighting that for you guys. And also, I want to add too, this constant need to focus on like the bigger picture or the future, or because it's kind of, as I've looked at it more for Capricorn, it feels like it's a way to avoid the everyday stuff, the smaller steps, and like immersing yourself in your daily life and the things that are going to help that ninth house. And we've talked about that, right? And you have Saturn in the third house across from this ninth house, where there's this fear of speaking, there's this fear of conflict, you know, you swallow your words, you get stuck in your mind, and that's where you, I feel like, escape into that ninth house of, let me just project further out, like let me just escape all this and project further out into the future and think about, you know, how things are going to be then and that. Yeah, you have the Knight of Wands here and the World, and I hear flighty, you know, so this is really asking you to kind of ground in that third house, you know. Chiron too, okay. Let's see, where's Chiron for you guys? Fourth house. Okay, so Chiron is hitting a very intimate like place for you guys. That's your fourth house, the house of home, the mother, your lineage. And so some of you feel like you know, some of you, this wounding comes from home, you know, and some of you feel like your perspective is flawed, or you might feel just worthless sometimes. I don't even like to say that word. Like, no, of course you're not. And so you have some deep scars with Chiron in the fourth house. You have some deep wounding. And I think the medicine with Jupiter in the seventh is like, you need to, that's the place where you need to come from. Not this, oh, sorry, I had an alarm go off. Not this, philosophizing life and having all these big concepts. It's okay to teach from that pain, you know, to kind of be in it, not try to remove yourself so far from it that that you're disconnected emotionally, right? So Jupiter, for you guys, the medicine is in your seventh house, literally in your house of one-on-one relationships and partnerships that should be expansive and expanding you right now. Jupiter in the seventh house, exalted in Cancer. But these relationships are going to be people, the ones that expand you at least, are going to be people who demand that you voice your truth. That you not just think about it, or like I said, conceptualize about it, continuously philosophize about it. Like actually live your truth. The Empress reversed. Yeah, and this is talking about Chiron. Remember I said Chiron in the fourth can really make you feel like wounded deeply. What's the point? A worthiness wound, not being accepted wound too. And the Three of Wands here, yeah, Three of Wands and the Devil, that's Capricorn, and the Five of Swords. That's what I was talking about. Is like, and because that wounding could hit so deep, we just want to escape it. So we, you know, we spiritual bypass, or we philosophize about it. We make it this whole thing of, yeah, and this is what I learned from that, instead of just really like sitting in that pain and being able to transmute it, because we're honest about it. We're not trying to make it wise or make it seem, you know. I think more presence is what's needed here, especially, like I said, lean into those partnerships, Capricorn, that demand your truth. Even if you resist it, they demand that you be true, not just correct everything and be the wise guy, you know, with philosophies and, you know, religious or spiritual jargon. Yeah. Look, the Creator card saying no. No. And look who's on the bottom of the deck. The High Priestess, Piscean energy, your intuition. I heard get into the nitty gritty. And that's what the third house is too, where Pisces is for you guys. It's the boots on the ground house. It's time to get into the smaller nuances of your mind and what you do every day, instead of like escaping and projecting yourself so far in the future. All right, that's what I have for you guys. Let's go to Aquarius. I think you guys too, just inserting this here while I'm putting the timestamp, I am going to be, once I figure it all out, because I hate being overwhelmed, but I am going to be going live on TikTok more, okay? Because I want to see what our following is like there as well. Because I get a lot of engagement over there too. So make sure you guys, you know, so you don't miss it, you follow me on TikTok over there. All right, Aquarius. 40. 8th house stuff for you is where the Cazimi is happening. It is your entanglements. It's financial, it's emotional, it's sexual. It can get messy. But a lot of you are realizing your aha moment with the Cazimi is like you've been giving away power under this illusion that you're controlling it. You're actually giving your power away, but you feel like the illusion feels like, oh, I'm in control of this, you know? And so that's what a lot of you are realizing. You have Saturn in the 2nd house, creating what is like a perceived wall or block or limitation. And this is you kind of clinging to stability, this fear of loss that keeps you like gripping your possessions or money, and these very rigid definitions of self that have to do with your things defining who you are. Yeah, you have the Mother Star here saying yes, and the 2 of Wands on the bottom of the deck. And if you can remember, we talked about Aquarius building your own resources, you know, so that this 8th house entanglement stuff doesn't feel so messy, doesn't feel like it has power over you. So yeah, you have Chiron too, Aquarius, in your 3rd house. Yes, Chiron in your 3rd house. 3 of Swords. Hold on, let me look at my chart for you guys. All right, okay, yeah. Chiron in the 3rd house, right? And it can be pressing on like a trust wound, like with yourself almost, you know, fearing that you're too broken or something to rely on yourself or even others, which is why you might feel like you have to control. But with Chiron in the 3rd house too, it's promoting like trust being built like brick by brick, you know, day by day, in just the ordinary acts of showing up for yourself. I'm hearing handling tasks for yourself, doing the things for yourself. You have Jupiter in your 6th house, exalted in Cancer. 7 of Cups out here as well. And this is saying like, again, you have to rebuild this trust through daily devotion. Daily devotion to yourself, to your habits, small acts of care, small acts of healing that re-anchor your power in yourself. Okay? Yeah, because see, look, 7 of Cups clarifying that chironic wound. It's like feeling like you can't have control over your life and what you want. It's feeling like you're at the whim of everyone else. Yeah, and that 3 of Swords clarifying Saturn in your 2nd house, that stability wound, that fear of loss. I don't think you want to necessarily be as entangled as you might be in the 8th house, but it comes from the fear of not thinking that you're able to catch yourself, or not thinking that you can trust in your relationships enough to not have to micromanage it or control it. What's the this card to clarify Jupiter for these guys? the Knight of Wands and the Eight of Wands. Yeah. Again, it's those little acts of self-care in your daily life, in your routines, that are going to help you bring that power back to yourself. Seriously, because Jupiter is in your 6th house, right? But it also rules your 2nd house, where we're talking about the North Node is, where Pisces is. Okay, and what is that? Your 11th house also rules your 11th house of gains. Okay, gains for the future, your wishes and hopes and dreams for the future, networks and communities. So your blessing is in that, is in if you can, you know, again, ground into your daily life so that it can expand in other areas of your life and help you feel more secure and less enmeshed and entangled in your 8th house. Like with other people or other people's resources, and having to, you know, rely on that or feel so controlled by it or controlling of it because of, again, fear of loss. If I don't have their support, then what? So that is what this energy is trying to reconfigure. Okay, thanks for the likes, guys. All right, Pisceans, because I'm trying to be here for a good time, not a super long time. It's a nice day outside, you know. I got plans to just parlay in the backyard, you know what I'm saying, and do wrong folk things. Okay. Pisces. 7th house stuff for you guys, right? Because it's on the Pisces Virgo axis. So the 7th house, again, it's a mirror house to the 1st house, to who you are. And there could be this energy of like avoidance, right? Where you have been trying to fix or improve others to maybe dodge some of your own shadows or shadow work that you might need to be dealing with, right? So we just turn everybody into projects. You know, everybody a project. South Node in the 7th house. Let me pull on that. What's that? Look at that. 10 of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles. Everybody a project. The whole family. Okay? But then look at that. 6 of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. And so you might do that. You might be expecting things from people that you don't get. Okay? Because 6 of Pentacles is equal give and take, and reciprocity, and gifts, and giving from the heart. Okay, now you have Saturn in your 1st house, retrograde, okay, in your 1st house. And so there is this fear of fully standing in your own skin. So you see, I want to connect it as we go. Like, you see how that fear of being in your own skin, you're like, you know what, let me just fix you instead, you know? And it's like, you know, some of you could feel like if you are visible as you are, what if people reject you? You know, so it's like, let me just project that onto you. Let me just fix you up, you know, not that there's anything wrong with you, you know. Tell me about that wall. Look at that, 7 of Swords. That's that projection. This fear of fully standing in your own skin, 7 of Swords, is self-betrayal. Because the North Node is in your sign. You have to be going towards you, literally. Thank you guys for all the love. I appreciate it. And you have Chiron, right? What is this? Oh, heck yeah. Chiron is in your 2nd house. It is most definitely digging at an identity wound or a self-worth wound, or where your value is coming from. 2nd house stuff, right? So a lot of you is like, you've been carrying some type of belief that you're unworthy just as you are. Okay, and Chiron is trying to ask you to live more unapologetically, Pisces. You know, existing, just pure existence is like your medicine. 10 of Swords reversed. There's nothing to fix, you know. You are worthy as you are. The sun on the bottom of the deck is what's behind that wounding that you feel Chiron is the wounded healer. Okay? And the wounded warrior as well. Let's cut the deck on that. Come on, the Empress when I cut the deck. If you don't know, the second house is naturally ruled by Taurus, which is the Empress, along with Libra too, because they share Venus. Okay. So let's get to Jupiter for you, right? Because you have Jupiter in the 5th house. And this is where you want to look as your medicine for what we just talked about, kind of like a remedy of sorts. Jupiter in the 5th is saying that joy is your healer. Play. Get more playful. Unapologetically. Create unapologetically. Risk being seen unapologetically. That's your new word. Unapologetically. Okay. Your heart, you know, is not a liability. Like, this is going to have to be the gateway. Okay. To you. Okay. Because Jupiter in the 5th house, what is that for you? It does, Cancer. But if you're a Pisces rising, that's trining you. That's beautiful aspect, and it's gonna be trining you until what? Jupiter leaves and goes into Leo next year sometime, right? Right. So it's gonna be trining you. This is your friend. Lean into that. So instead of putting your energy into fixing other people, use this energy, like I said, unapologetically on yourself and with your projects and the things that you're doing. Tell me, give me one card for them for Jupiter. You have the Chariot reversed. Literally, it's happening again, y'all. What is it? Who's the Chariot? The Chariot is Cancer. The zodiac sign Cancer. And where's Jupiter? In Cancer. And I just pulled for Jupiter. Sorry. I got tons of alarms all day, y'all. Don't mind me. So you have the Chariot in reverse here. And the Strength card, which is the natural ruler of the 5th house, right? I know it can get confusing when we talk about rulers in 5th house. So your 5th house is Cancer, where Jupiter is. The natural ruler of the 5th house for everyone is Leo, right there. Okay? And you got Temperance out here. This is your medicine. Look at that. Temperance being the healer. And it might be the one thing you're not doing, which is why the Chariot is in reverse. So when you find yourself wanting to edit other people, even if you feel like, because listen, I'm not saying that the people don't need to be edited. Okay? I'm not saying that they couldn't use some tweaks. But we can't control other people, can we? Okay? So pour that energy unapologetically into other things. Play, create, risk being seen. Pour it into romance if that's, you know, a thing for you. Healthy, you know, romance of playful, flirtatiously, you know, be flirtatious unapologetically. And that is really going to help you go towards that North Node, which is literally in your sign, Pisces. Like, you deserve that. Okay? That's what I have for you guys. All right. Let me get to Aries. What song is that? I put on another random playlist. Smacking again. I have so many different music vibes. What kind of music? I wonder what kind of music y'all listen to. Okay. Aries, the Ram. This is in your 6th house. Yeah, your house is one of the most, I mean, your chart's like easy to read because it's just natural positions. I don't have to be like, where's Jupiter? What house for you? It's just all default. So you have it in your 6th house, right? The natural ruler is Virgo. So you guys, it's like suddenly you cannot ignore the way you run yourself into the ground. Yes, I said it, the way you run yourself into the ground, you know. I only say that because the South Node is there right now. And so it's like every quote unquote system that you try to like patch together, and I'm using these words very specifically, patch together, could seem like it collapses under its own weight. You know, it's like this obsession with like getting things just right. Virgo, shadow Virgo energy, you know, down to your diet, your schedule, your work ethic, right? Because that's all 6th house stuff. And it's not actually about health or success. It's about control, which is why the South Node has paid your 6th house a visit. And there is this need to realize that your need to perfect the grind, the things you do every day, is really a mask for maybe not wanting to face the deeper vulnerability of stillness, of your spiritual and mental health, the past, your vices. Okay, because you have the North Node in the I was about to say in the Pisces house. It's in the 12th house in Pisces for you, literally. Yeah, you have the Ace of Swords here, and you have Justice with the 6 of Wands. So yeah, there is this realization. Ace of Swords is Cazimi energy, Sword of Truth, clarity. Okay, and there could be this energy of this realization, excuse me, of feeling like, again, you've just been realizing like everything that you've been doing, this grind, hustle, y'all know how I feel about hustle culture, has been just a means to like keep things what you feel is balanced or together, perfectly put. Okay, let me cut the deck. Yeah, 6 of Wands, but then you have the moon here where you just had an eclipse in Pisces. So it's like, yeah, we want to keep staying in this 6th house stuff where we're comfortable and we're comfortable showing up every day, grind, doing it right. But the North Node is pulling you to slow down in the 12th house. It's pulling you to actually realize that rest is your medicine. It's not a reward for what you do in the 6th house. It's just a birthright, you know? So, you know, let's talk about Saturn in the 12th, right? Because you have Saturn retrograde and in Pisces now in the 12th. And it is saying to you guys that if you, the fear is popping up there, right? Because Saturn can be fear, especially in the 12th house. And it can be saying to you, like, if you stop everything that you've been avoiding, everything will collapse. Right? Or if you stop, all the things that you've been avoiding in that 12th house might catch up to you. Right? And this is like, you know, I kind of think of the 12th house too as like, I hear Eminem song. I said, I'm sorry, mama, never meant to hurt you. Never meant to make you cry, but tonight I'm cleaning out my closet. That cleaning out my closet vibe is how I sometimes feel about the 12th house, and depending on like what planet is going through there, could really feel like that. Like, nah, I'm gonna just close that door. Like, okay, 12th house and 8th house to me can kind of feel like that, and that can be what this is. Okay, it's like also for you can just be like feeling like if you rest, like I said, things are gonna fall apart. And that's the fear that's gripping you, though. That fear, that very fear, is gripping you and locking you into a loop of overcompensating. Okay? Overcompensating in that 6th house. Yeah, judgment. Harshly judging yourself, your path, how you're supposed to show up, and really making this a huge staple in your life. Like, really, I'm here being very, like, serious about it. And you know, and I'm not saying don't be serious about your systems, and you know, we all need systems to a certain extent, you know, but look at that, look at you, at you on the bottom of the deck, the Fool. There is this energy of you that does secretly, I think, because of North Node and your 12th house is secrets. I think secretly you do want to break from it. Okay, now you have Chiron in your house of you, right, in Aries. This is an identity wound. Right? In the 1st house, Chiron is an identity wound. And it can be saying, I'm broken, I'm not enough, I must prove myself endlessly. Even on a more, you know, smaller note, it could be talking about looks. You could be overcritical of your looks, and then you're trying to overcompensate in the 6th house every day. And that very wound as well is what keeps you chained, again, to productivity, right? Or false productivity, because really it's harming you, you know? Or the South Node wouldn't be there. And so the healing is really going to come when you claim your presence without proving. This is just showing up as like, I haven't done all that grinding and stuff, and I'm still worthy to show up before you as I am like this. You know, like you can still show up very powerful without running yourself into the hole. The thing is knowing that you can do that. Right now you have the Ace of Wands and the Three of Pentacles to clarify that energy. And some of the collaborations, or you're going to have new collaborations possibly, because what is this? There's a South Node in your 6th house, and the Sun is about to go into your 7th house of relationships as we cross over into the fall equinox. So I do feel like there are new systems that you're trying to enact, you know, that you're trying to build in your daily life. And that's going to probably mean like interacting with people in a different way. Three of Pentacles in the world too. Some of you, this is going to be a big change in work, the way you work, how much you work, your hours at work, the days you work. Okay, there could really be some editing there as the South Node continues to move through your 6th house, telling you more and more of what you need to let go of in that daily routine, them daily systems. Okay. Yes, I'm still listening. Okay. Now, lastly, okay, let's get to the medicine for you. Okay, you have Jupiter. Jupiter in your 4th house. Cancer is exalted. This is the most private part of the chart. It's your home, it's your mother, it's your ancestry, where you come from, it's your emotions. This is reminding you that your nourishment, you can't treat it like some type of luxury. Okay, because as much as Jupiter is in your 4th house, it also rules your 12th house, which we were talking about where the North Node is for you. It's the ground that you're going to build from, because it's quite literally our foundation, the 4th house. Your roots, family, your chosen family, if that's the thing, your inner sanctuary, like this is where your expansion is going to happen. So the more you feed your foundations, which are that 4th house, are that 12th house too, they kind of work together, the stronger the outer work is going to become. So while you might be thinking, okay, as I wrap up for you guys, Aries, while you might be thinking, okay, let me grind into the 6th house, grind, that's not what the astrology is saying for you guys. The North Node's in your 12th house. You have to honor that, the rest, the finding your rhythm, the deepening your spirituality, okay, the anchoring in who you really are, the releasing of the past as well. You have to lean into that, and then that's going to translate into your 6th house. If you do it the other way around, you'll burn yourself out. You'll create a health problem, or you'll be in this pattern of avoidance, and you'll feel like things are very shallow and very hollow for you. All right, that's what I have for you guys. Taurus, mirror up. Okay, let's see. All right, let's see. One. Oh, hold on, let me take some water before I put your timestamp down. Taurus, I had wrote a key word for you that was triggered when I did Scorpio's reading. And so I will talk a little bit about that. All right, let's go. Taurus, 5th house, okay? Getting scorched by the Cazimi. This is like simply saying, again, love, joy, somehow, some way they've become performances, okay? I'm just saying that, okay, or the South Node would not be there. So some of you have been like editing, like I say, your creativity to the point that maybe it feels lifeless when you are done and ready to put it out, or you've been polishing the way you experience pleasure or joy or romance until it just feels shallow. And that was the word that I had gotten. Whereas Scorpio might be in this hollow feeling of, you know, in certain communities, you might be treading into things feeling shallow because you feel like you are, again, performing for joy, or performing joy itself, performing love instead of actually embodying it, living it. And so the Cazimi is probably highlighting to you guys how joy has kind of turned into labor for you guys. A job, a task, an obligation, a duty, another thing to check off the list. And how that's actually killing some of the things or dreams or visions that you're trying to chase, right? Because you got the North Node in your 11th house. You got some dreams, you got some goals that you're trying to go after. Okay, some gains that you're trying to get. North Node in the 11th house is also, 11th house is gains anyway from the 10th house. And so, but yeah, you're seeing how that's getting killed, okay, by this feeling like you have to perform or be something maybe that you're not. So you have the 6 of Swords here and the 8 of Wands. So you feel like, you know, in that, with that realization, you might feel as though you need to check out a little bit mentally and really ground yourself. You know, really kind of pull away from certain spaces and maybe even forward movement or momentum. All right. Or you might feel like that's naturally happening. Right. So you have Saturn in the 11th house, now retrograding back in Pisces. That's your 11th house. And this is a fear of rejection. Okay. It's like, if you stop performing for the group, what if nobody wants you? What if nobody claps for, you know, your real creativity that you don't edit to the point that it just falls bland or flat? You know, it's like these, but okay. Saturn's going to clear out once he finally leaves Pisces for you guys. He's going to also take with him, I guess, or burn, I should say, not take with him, old alliances in that 11th house and social structures that keep reinforcing this lie that your worth has to come from fitting in. Okay, so Saturn there is trying to help you weed out communities and things that keep you in this perpetual like cycle of feeling like you're performing and then, you know, feeling like it just feels so shallow and empty. Okay, yeah, you have the Ace of Wands here and the Queen of Wands. So there is community that I feel like is going to come in or trying to come in to help you. And we'll talk about that. Sorry, my song just came on. Frank Ocean, Pink and White. Every day goes. Okay, there are communities that are going to come in and be expansive and help you feel a part of something bigger than yourself. And you will fit in, but you won't have to shrink yourself. Ace of Wands, Queen of Wands. You can just show up in your full authority, be confident, be whatever the thing is that you are, the big energy that you have. Now, Chiron for you guys. Okay. Chiron is in your 12th house. That can feel like exile. You know, that can really feel like a wound, an exile wound. Like you've just been cast out, you know, of society. And so there is, with Chiron being in that placement, deep down there is this fear of being cut out, exiled, isolated, unloved, abandoned for being authentic, right? Which would connect to that Saturn in your 11th house, excuse me. That constant tweaking that would also connect to that South Node in Virgo in the 5th house, feeling like, let me just tweak it, let me just make it perfect, you know, and then share it with people. And then by the time it gets to people, it's like watered down Kool-Aid, you know, when it's like your real raw art or expression or the way you love is better. It's better, you know. So yeah, there is, look at that. 6 of Cups, clarifying Chiron. There's deep wounding. Okay, Chiron in your 12th house. This could be connected to the past. Childhood, 6 of Cups is that. And, you know, that fear of being abandoned for being your authentic self is also the thing that keeps you feeling like, well, you have to perform. Knight of Wands, what if I'm not exciting enough? What if I'm not doing the thing? You know, I understand this so much, right? Because sometimes it can feel like that if you're not being authentic, like you're just a sideshow. And I don't just mean like in spaces, just in your everyday life. And like, this is in your 5th house, and how you interact romantically, how you interact with your children, right? Because the 5th house is children. I don't want to skip over that. That's important as well. You know, it can feel like you're just a caricature. Okay, so let's talk about Jupiter, because Jupiter, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, you have Jupiter in your 3rd house, exalted. Okay, this is kind of giving you a little key, okay, maybe a major key. All right, and it's saying your voice is that key. speaking, writing, expressing in an unfiltered way. Okay, because there are people, third house. This is why I said I was going to get to that. How, remember I said Saturn's going to cut out some of these networks and things, and also some of the visions that you had for your future that didn't align with you anymore because they would have kept you in performance mode versus authenticity mode. And so Jupiter in the third is the key. It's like there are people waiting for you. There are people waiting for you, but they're waiting for the raw you, the messy you, the unpolished you. They're waiting for that from you. And so a lot of your medicine, Taurus, is going to be in daring to put your words into what you really feel and desire. Okay? Yeah. Ace of Cups. Okay. Hi, Anissa. The Ace of Cups and the Hermit on the bottom of the deck. The Hermit is also Virgo, if you don't know that, and that's where the South Node is what this whole thing is about. The Mercury Cazimi in Virgo, in your 5th house. So yeah, let it come. Let your art get messy. Let that 5th house get a little bit more messy. Anissa, I don't even, that's not even, I'm sorry, ma'am. Is there any black magic or negativity on me? For one, I'm not doing those readings right now. And I think you can feel that for yourself. Okay. You can feel that. And if you feel like it is, it's a reflection. If you feel like it is, it requires shadow work. Okay. Have a great day. All right. So Taurus. Yeah, man. You got to let us into that beautiful mind. Okay. Absolutely. You got to let people into that beautiful mind, you know, really expand. Yeah. And don't over edit your art in the way that you are communicating in your romantic relationships with your children, you know, be more unfiltered. Okay. All right, that's what I have for you, Taurus. Let's go to Gemini. I got Gemini, Cancer, and Leo to finish up with, guys. I started with Virgo, and I'll timestamp it afterward. All right. Gemini. Let's go. Okay. It's in your 4th house, right? You got the Cazimi happening in the 4th house, which means that the South Node is there. The sun is there. So this illumination is quite literally hitting home, you know? You guys like that? Okay. So, Gemini, we've been kind of talking about this. These old family programs, you know, the emotional rules that you've absorbed, like how safety is supposed to work, or how love is supposed to be earned, or what duty is supposed to look like. And the truth of the matter is these things are not yours. Okay, they might have been inherited and you've been carrying them like these laws, these concrete laws that kind of like run your life. And it's like the Cazimi is asking you to kindly, or maybe not so kindly, drop this ancestral baggage. Okay, drop this heaviness down there because it is no longer protecting you anymore. It's kind of caging you and keeping you small. Okay. And this is not, I want to just say, because I know a lot of people can get testy, like when it comes to family and when you start talking about breaking patterns and stuff, but it's like you help yourself and you automatically help the bloodline. Versus trying to hold on to rigidity from the bloodline and stifling beliefs that you don't resonate with from the bloodline and trying to prove it and live by that, and you know, it's taking you out of your authentic path. Versus you being the change that you want everybody else to just witness and see. That changes the bloodline, I feel more. And I think that's what this is saying. Okay, because if the South Node is in your 4th house, the North Node is in your most public house where you're supposed to be going towards. All right. I'm about the light for them. Yeah, temperance. Temperance and the Fool. It is time. You are seeing like, yeah, these beliefs down here do not serve me. Temperance, it's time to heal it, because the Fool, you've got a bigger vision and it has not been quiet anymore. I feel like it's not been quiet anymore. Yep, the Fool. Look at that. The 10 of Pentacles with the Fool. It's like you are not, it's not leaving the legacy behind. You're going to add to the legacy, but you're going to have to do it in your way. That's so deep. I don't know what I'm necessarily picking up on. It's kind of nuanced, but it's like somebody who's feeling like they, it's like when you say, I'm never going to be like them. Like, I am never going to be like my mom, or I'm never going to be like that. But then you realize that the patterns that you've been patterning through are exactly the same path. I have had that realization. So I know how hard that can hit. And that's your ticket. You are supposed to be in that 10th house energy, right? So let's talk about that, right? Because you have Saturn up there in Pisces retrograding in that chart for you. And there is this pressure, right? You got career, authority figures, your own power, your reputation, your status in the world. And this fear is like, if you break the script, right, then you'll lose your credibility. You'll lose your status. And a lot of you have been trying to build safety through maybe external respect. And that is fragile. Okay? But that comes back to what we were talking about, that 4th house stuff. And those programs that you carry that said, no, this is how you earned. This is how you earn your place in the world, right? 6 of Pentacles reverse. And the Page of Cups on the bottom of the deck. So it's like this, you're, I feel like there are hopes and dreams that you sit on, that you push down. And some of you, I'm picking up on somebody again, where somebody is like pretending they don't want something more, or they don't want something bigger, as to not feel like they are, quote unquote, betraying the family or the bloodline or the lineage. And that is self-betrayal at its finest. Okay. All right. So let's talk about Chiron for y'all, right? Because Chiron is going to be the wound here, right? The deeper wound that's kind of helping us perpetuate these cycles. For you, what is this? You have Chiron in the 11th house. 11th house, because your 10th house is Pisces. So, and Chiron is in Aries. Chiron's in your 11th house. This is a wound of belonging. So you can see why we would want to hold on to those roots, to those family stories, even if they're not the best for us. Even if they're kind of limiting and stifling, we will want to hold on to them, because Chiron is pressing on a belonging wound. And we want to belong to something, right? We're human, right? And so it's like deep down, you might not feel like you come from anywhere safe, and so you like overcompensate, maybe by chasing approval outside of yourself, in groups and networks. And so a lot of your healing is going to come when you build your own home from within, instead of trying to inherit or take these beliefs that just, they don't, or family patterns, emotional patterns, they're not you. They're not you. And you're meant to build something else out in the world. And it's probably a lot different than what you've grown up with. And I know that can be tough. Okay? Look at this. The Hangman is Pisces. This has been happening all day. Hangman is Pisces. It's in reverse for you guys. Okay? When we talk about that wound there. And then you have the moon on the bottom of the deck. The moon is connected to the 4th house. It's the mother. It's both water energy. So there is like this core wounding of rejection or family wound too. some of you feeling like this belonging wound could literally feel like, and it's crazy that it's a wolf on here, you could literally feel like the lone wolf of the family. You might quite literally, I'm going to validate you in that. You could probably feel like the lone wolf who's going out there and starting their own pack. That's what the lone wolves do. Either they stay a lone wolf or, you know, they go out and start their own pack. All right, and then you guys, let's get to your medicine. Right, and right now it's Jupiter in the second house for you. Okay, exalted in Cancer in your second house of self-worth. This is going to say that your value is for you to define. Not your bloodline, not what they went through, not what they said is the way, not the beliefs and emotional patterns that you inherited. Okay? It's like when you claim your own worth, whether that be financial, emotional, spiritual, everything else is going to start to flow. Okay, so this is asking you to really break this pattern of hustling for like breadcrumbs of validation. You know, when, excuse me, if you just calibrate to your own vision, you won't have to do that. Yeah, look at that, Ace of Cups and the Ten of Cups. Remember I said that you were going to be building your own? Remember the Ten of Pentacles was out here with the Fool. You're getting away from that family vision of how it's supposed to be and how it's supposed to be done and how you're supposed to create legacy. And this is that legacy you're creating. The Ten of Cups, the Ace of Cups. It comes from joy first, from love first, from passion first. So you are building something new and different out in the world. And it's way different than where you've come from. And that's the disconnect. It's way different than what your family may have done or how they told you to do it. And so really grounding yourself, you know, so that you can fulfill your mission out there. Because you have one. North Node in the 10th house, you definitely have one. All right, that is what I have for you. Let's go to Cancerians. Time is warping right now because literally feels like I've been seeing her for like 2 hours. Time is trippy these days. I'm sure you guys know that. All right, Cancerians. Your third house is lighting up with the Cazimi. And a lot of you are realizing with this, like your brain has kind of been a prison of sorts. Okay? This constant analysis that you're in, remember I said analysis paralysis. This compulsive need to keep proving things instead of just having faith, instead of trusting. Although you might talk about faith, you might talk about trusting. There is this, again, this compulsion with like, proving it or being very pragmatic or like, you know, and it's really you being stuck in paralysis, symbolically, metaphorically, and you disguising it as logic or practicality. I'm just being practical and I'm just being realistic. Yeah. And so it's like the Cazimi is kind of showing you how the stories you keep running in your mind, these mind loops, are actually cutting you off from experiencing a vaster life, a more expansive, expressive, cultured, spiritual, miraculous life. Seriously. And so a lot of your beliefs are being called out, you know, or challenged in some kind of way. If they're rigid or they keep you small or they lack faith, right? They got to always make sense to you. Okay. Yeah. Queen of Wands, Two of Pentacles. I love to see that out there for you because it makes me feel like Cancerians, you guys are getting more confident and understanding, like with the Two of Pentacles. Oh, okay. There's different ways to do this life thing. Like there's different perspectives to have. And that's what I mean. Like if the South Node is in your third house, the North Node's in your ninth. There's a whole big old world out there that you're supposed to be exploring. Big concepts, courses, things like that you're supposed to be into. It doesn't matter if it makes sense or not. That's the thing. How's this going to help me? I don't see how this is going to... That's pointless. You know, it's that type of rigidity that this energy is trying to get you out there. Trying to get you out of, excuse me, and get you out there. Okay, now let's talk about the ninth house because that's where Saturn is retrograde for you guys. This is the source of some things, okay? Again, these rigid world views. Get out there. Talk to people from different backgrounds than you, man. Not people that you've grown up with all the time and they have this limited perspective on life. This inherited dogma that you guys might be allowing to run your life just because, well, that's how I grew up and we always went to church on Sundays. And, you know, I'm not coming for anybody, but these are examples. These are examples I've actually seen come up for people. Okay. So the core of that is like, a lot of you guys feel like if you just keep on following the quote unquote rules, and I use rules because subjective, these are not laws, like the laws that are written, like, you know, don't murder somebody, you know. It's like, if you feel like if you keep following these subjective rules, you'll be safe. But the rules are the cages that are keeping you small or keeping you in environments that you've outgrown, because the South Node is there. You're too big for them, and you need to be expanding. The Sun and the Ace of Cups. There is like a thirst for knowledge. There is a thirst for like just, I think, a more spiritual experience in this life. And to do that, you kind of got to be open-minded, you know, to what's out there, into how your worldview can change. Right now, your wound, okay, the wounding, I should say, is in your 10th house, okay, of Aries. You have Chiron in your 10th house, so it's a public house. So a lot of you fear ridicule. You know, you fear that if you speak your truth, okay, that you'll be cut down. You won't be accepted. You'll be looked at as stupid or inadequate or incompetent. But your words are going to be how you heal. Okay, you starting to speak up. Okay, you have to speak anyway. Because if you keep, the more that you do it, it becomes your strength. Okay. That Chironic wound. Yeah, the Death card here and the Four Swords. I heard Earth to Cancer, Earth to Cancer. So that Death card there, yeah, I feel like you are showing up, or you're being urged to show up. Listen, in a way less passive way. Four of Swords, Knight of Swords, and the Emperor. Here's the thing. It might not be all cute and curated how your words come out. It might actually be raw. It might be messy. It might hit to the core. And that's okay. You just start doing it. Okay? You can fine tune it later, but just start doing it. Okay? And really getting your perspectives out there versus just regurgitating the same stuff or the same outdated things that no longer resonate for your life. Your soul is calling for expansion and a deeper, like I said, spiritual connection to life. All right. So lastly, let's get to the medicine for y'all. That's going to be Jupiter in your first house, exalted, right? And this is just saying fucking live. Live, Cancerians. Okay, experience is going to be your authority. We talked about that. Instead of regurgitating what people have said, what have you been through? What wisdom do you have? This is all connected, like I said, in this eclipse energy. So this is what we're leaning into, and the Cazimi is just kind of pushing us more into it. You know, trust your instincts. Trust your body, your presence. Okay, you guys are, your expansion is now going to come from walking your own path, period. Not by citing other people's blueprints for their life and what worked for them. And yeah, the Knight of Pentacles and the Hierophant. And the Hierophant is the way things have always been done. The way things have always been done. The protocol, the system. I'm hearing the checks and balances. The Knight of Pentacles here. I feel like this is something that you guys are walking away from. Yep. As I said that I cut the deck in the Eight of Cups. That is literally walking away from something. Look who's behind that. More Pisces energy. The High Priestess. I think you guys are. You're pulling away. Three of Wands. I could just keep going. You don't know where it's taking you. That's the beauty of the 9th house. It's just expanding you in ways that are spiritual, that might be more miraculous, that might require way more faith, not just using the word, but actually using it as an action word, embodying it. All right. Okay. Let's wrap this thingy thing on up and let's get to Leo. Let's put you at, get some water real quick. Okay, Leo. So you guys are having this in your second house, right? Because that's where Virgo is for you. A lot of you have mistaken your worth for productivity, right? Or exchanged your worth for productivity. And you think that the harder you work, the more you earn, and not just money, right? Because this is about love, it's about recognition, it's about belonging. And so, yeah, a lot of you equate hard work with earning more, okay? And that is crumbling for you guys. Because you see now that effort does not necessarily equal value. Okay? So I'm sorry, it's gonna think. There has been a detachment to possessions, to things, and anything that you feel contributes to your worth that actually doesn't. Like, for example, and I just use an example, like the fancy car. It doesn't contribute to your worth or value at all. It's a beautiful decoration. It's a beautiful, maybe, manifestation of, you know, things that, yes, you've worked hard for and you've earned, and, you know, rightfully so, but it doesn't make you who you are. It's not your worth. Your worth is not tied to it in any way, shape, or form. Okay? And that is the detachment that is happening for you guys. It's like attaching ourselves so much to the things that we've, quote unquote, worked hard for and earned, and, you know, and like it said, it's not just money, it's love, it's recognition, it's all highlighting very transactional things. Okay? Yeah, Judgment and the Two of Swords. And I feel like this is saying, like, where have you wavered? You know, where have you allowed yourself to exchange, like, your worth for this sense of, like, productivity and earning something, earning the money, earning people just clapping real quick, fleeting, right? Because the South Node is there, so it's not actually them, like, clapping necessarily for them valuing you deeply and honoring your worth. Okay, now the wall for you guys, Saturn sitting across from this second house in Pisces. This is really showing you why you might grip so hard. Okay, why you might be terrified in that second house where the South Node is, and that's because you might be scared of depending on other people. So you cling to your possessions, you work hard, you build those things up, so you never have to rely on anybody else. But the North Node is in your 8th house. It is in the house of leaning on OPP, other people's property, okay? Other people's things, resources, merging deeply with another person. Like I said, it doesn't just have to be things. Becoming more intimate in your relationships and more vulnerable. Those are the things that need to be seen from you, who you actually are, not the things you feel create your worth, right? And so yeah, a lot of you, this overworking, now that we break it down with Saturn, it's just an armor. You know, it's just an armor. Yeah, the 3 of Wands and the 7 of Wands. And it never keeps you present, right? It's always this for the future. This is for the future, for the long term, for the this. I'm building for this. I'm building for that. You know, there's no presence. And the North Node in the 8th house, you've got to be present for that type of transformation, for that type of deep intimacy and connection, even with oneself. Okay. Now, let's talk about the womb for you guys, which is Chiron. Chiron for everyone. Give me a second. It's your 9th house. Yes, it is your 9th house. And This is really pressing on that wound of resource, right? Because you feel like you could really feel like there is this wound when it comes to giving and receiving support. You know, you could feel kind of, I used the word defective, like unworthy of it, like something's wrong, you know, and that's why you could hoard control. And it's going to be that healing is going to come when you see that like surrender is not weakness, you know, it's shared power, you know. And so you got Jupiter in your 12th house, right? Yes, Jupiter in the 12th. Sorry, I gotta make sure that I'm getting the houses right for you guys. You got Jupiter in the 12th house. Let's talk about, yeah, look at that. Queen of Wands in the 10 of Swords with the moon. So that just speaks to Chiron, right? And feeling, I think a lot of you feel deeply wounded when you have to rely on other people. You know, like like your ego takes a hit. Like you don't like that, you know. And that's what this is trying to get you to see. You know, and I just want to say, like, it's just kind of coming through. I just want to say, like, that South Node in the 2nd house can, okay, it can signal losses. But I would say only if, again, we are equating our worth to those things. We're attaching too much to it. Too much of who we are to it. And clinging too tightly. And refusing to lean into the North Node in the 8th house. That's what I would say. Or when I would say the 2nd house, South Node there can indicate loss of actual things and possessions that you've quote unquote worked hard for. But do they truly add value to you and who you are? Right? So let's get to Jupiter in the 12th, right? Exalted in Cancer, and it's telling you you have to start trusting the unseen more. Your faith, your dreams, prayer, intuition. This is something I've been learning too, so I'm here with you. Resources exist beyond what you can conceive, okay, which you can measure with your logical mind. Resources are infinite, despite what we've been programmed to believe. I know, mind blown. I know, I'm still grounding that one too. But that's the truth. And it's like the abundance is going to flow when you let go of this clinging, and you're going to have to really lean into the mystery of life. You know? Not the safety you know in your things and possessions and constantly working hard for more of those things and possessions. That's what you know. You're good at that. You know how to do that already. What you don't know how to do is surrender to the unknown, into another person, into yourself and life's journey, into something deeper than just your things or what you've built for yourself. All right, let's clarify that medicine for them, Spirit. And that is Justice in reverse with the World on the bottom of the deck, clarifying that medicine there. The imbalance is coming to an end. That imbalance is coming to an end. The World. Cut the deck and there's the 8 of Cups. Again. All right, so that's what I have for you guys. That is what I wanted to come share today, what I felt inspired to share today, because I was kind of going over it for myself, and I was like, you know what, I like breaking this down into these 4 parts. So I'm going to get it timestamped for you all, and you all enjoy the rest of your Saturn's day. All right, it's nice where I am, so hopefully you guys are having a moderate weather day, you know, not too cold, not too hot, and I will catch you guys here soon. Remember, this is for today and tomorrow, so the weekend, September 13th through the 14th, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, y'all.